Hello everyone, Hub here again, and today I'm bringing you my third Friendship is Magic commentary. Today's episode is Daring Don't, the 4th episode of Season 4 and the 69th episode of the overall show. This was actually a pretty easy choice when it came to picking my next commentary, because what I said about these commentaries, I usually do episodes that I have a lot to say about, or I have a personal attachment to. This is an episode where my opinion has differed greatly ever since it came out. I'll get to that when the big reveal comes up, but in the meantime, I absolutely love this opening. I mean, with Rainbow here, she reminds me of myself every time I geek out over something. I think the most recent thing I geeked out over was for Sonic Boom. That or Guardians of the Galaxy, which looks freaking epic, but that's beside the point. I've always liked Alizotto, but that's probably because of his design. Even with the odd fact that his eyes are literally, like, he has a lot of headspace, but they're right at his nose. Ooh! I ran into a bird's nest. Ow. But that was a pretty funny visual gag. Anyway, Season 4 changed the opening slightly. There is new animation to it, which is fine, but still, I want an actual theme song, damn it. Oh my god, Discord! And a new picture. I do like the new picture. And look, there's Luna. But really, what else can I say? It's just... eh. I can relate to this tenfold. Look at all them fancy hats! What's this holiday party then?
So, what holiday would today be? National Random Holiday Party Day!
I love that.
I've never heard of it either. But punch is...
Hey, I'd go for punch too.
You might say the secret ingredient is...
And I'll get the teacher my secret kata. The secret kata.
I came to invite you personally, but it seems you were a speck too busy reading the last Daring Do book for the...
That's like me with every Mega Man game. I play it like a million times.
Oh, haven't you heard? The release of the next book got pushed another 2 months.
This was my reaction to Smash Bros. 3DS being delayed till October. Yep, I can vouch for that for Smash Bros. Why was that delayed?
The publisher just said author A.K. Yearling won't be able to finish the book for another 2 months. Cupcakes? How could you possibly know that?
She used the internet.
I'm the series' biggest fan. I'm just as big a fan as you. In fact, I'm the one who first introduced you to the books.
Oh yeah, and Read and Weep. One of Season 2's best, in my opinion.
This might be my favorite author. I know everything about her. Where she grew up, where she studied.
This is actually a rather interesting sequence here because it sort of teaches us what type of fan Twilight is and what type of fan Rainbow is, which is going to play out in another episode later.
Obviously delayed because she needs help dealing with whatever everyday nonsense is distracting her from spending her every living
Hey, at least she actually, takes time to remake movies, unlike DC that can't make movies anymore.
help her with her laundry, buying her groceries, cooking her meals, whatever. Now, who wouldn't appreciate that? I don't know. What she probably wants most of all is respect for her privacy. She can always just
Well,
go.
there's that. By the way, I want that fez Pinky has.
I suppose.
Then again, people will mistake me as one of the doctors from Doctor Who. I still need to make time to watch that. I do actually really like this sequence here with the little outline. Especially at the end, it's actually quite hilarious. Hey, at least they know where to go if they're lost.
Why would she live in this remote part of Equestria except to keep...
I'm surprised some ponies didn't go, hey, where's this trail lead?
I think I spotted the house. some pony has intruded on our privacy.
I prefer the verb or term ransacked. Ransacked, I think, is an adjective.
Wait, some pony really trashed this place. Maybe. Or maybe AK Yearling's just a terrible, horrible.
Or that too. That is another possibility.
I hope AK
It reminds me of how Rarity
what if something
does her.
terrible happened to her?
Remember you that scene in Sisterhood of Social where Sweetie cleans up the creative room, as I call it, and Rarity flips out, and she mentions that
What are
being
you
in a slub is a creative process.
AK Yearling? We didn't do this.
We swear we didn't ransack it.
What have you done?
And
We didn't do this, Miss Yearling. We're awfully glad to see you're all right. Okay, clearly this isn't the best time, but I just gotta say how much we all really love
I'm not much of a reader, but even then I will read a book every now and then. Even if it is for English class. Ring! We need 99 more to get an extra life, and 50 more along with the 7 Chaos Emeralds to become super. 59? 49. Why did I say 59? At least I get 10 extra seconds, but oh well.
AK Yearling has made it pretty clear that she wants to be left alone. We need to respect her wishes. You should tell that to those guys.
Hey! Stop robbing! Oh, then we get to this part. You know, the part that, depending on who you are, you either love this episode or you hate it. It turns out that AK Yearling, well, I'll let them say it. Yep. When I first watched this episode, I wasn't like some of the other people that were like, I can't find this concept! My headcanon is ruined! I was just more like, okay. In fact, when I first watched this episode, I didn't like it that much. I think my biggest problem with it was that, well, looking back on it, I have no idea what my biggest problem was. I'm usually good at articulating and explaining myself, but I don't know if it was because I couldn't buy the concept at the time. Well, actually, I think it was because of what we're about to see later with Rainbow, which, looking back on it, is a rather stupid reason. And looking back at previous episodes, I was completely wrong, and I'll explain that when we get to it.
Many thanks, Derry. As you probably surmised, our earlier search for this treasure was unsuccessful.
We're 1 out of 50. We need 49 more.
Give it back, Caballeron.
That's Dr. Caballeron to you.
He's from book 4, Daring Do with a Razor of Dreams.
That is a cool title, The Razor of Dreams.
I know, but she refused. I can't believe it. The real Daring Do and the real Caballeron. So let me guess. Aoizoto has put you up to this. You're stealing the ring to give to him, so his hold on the fortress of Talicon will be good for 8 centuries as foretold by prophecy.
Really?
But no. I'm going to sell this to him, make a bundle, and retire from archaeology in
Really? Why can't these guys get a job? I mean, they probably do, but it's probably a pretty shitty job, but oh well. Should we help her? Oh, right! When we're being chased by ghosts, oh, right!
Are you okay? I got this. She was just trying to help Miss Do. Daring Do doesn't need help. She handles her business herself.
That kind of reminds me of me when it comes to a school project. I hate team projects because no one in my team wants to work.
You heard her. She says she works alone. How can we just stand by and do nothing? You know what's at stake here?
I absolutely love this sequence here because being a comic book fan myself, at least mostly in the Spider-Man area, I often have discussions with one of my friends about comics. It reminds me of a heated debate I had whether Venom should be an anti-hero. I was on the side that supported it, and he was on the side that opposed it. But that is for another time. Anyway, I should have probably mentioned the writer of this episode by now, but the writer of this episode is Dave Polsky, who wrote for South Park in the past and is writing for Sonic Boom, the TV show, which I think looks awesome. Then again, Sonic X looked awesome, and that sucked major ass, but still. He wrote for seasons 1 and 3. He didn't write for 2. And he wrote like a good chunk of episodes this season. And I have to say, he is, as I mentioned in the Swim of the Century commentary, he is the M.A. Larson of season 4. Because he really tested his strengths. I don't know if he'll be returning for season 5, but he really did step up his game this season. Although I think, in my opinion, his best episode this season was the Equestria Games. And many did not like that episode. But as I mentioned, I will be doing the entire Equestria Games saga from Games Ponies Play to that episode. Why are you hitting yourself? Oh my god, they did the Super Sexy 69 attack from Sonic 4 Episode 2. Anyway, as I mentioned, my biggest problem with this episode when I first watched it was that Rainbow was being too much like a fangirl. And when I look back at, like, the early season episodes with the Wonderbolts, I wondered why this was my biggest problem. I mean, I guess it kind of annoyed me, because I find all types of fanboying and fangirling annoying. Even though I do it myself, so I'm very hypocritical.
Since you never know who you can trust, it's best never to trust.
That's why I wrote several books about it. What?
Doesn't mean no pony can be trusted. Look, I don't have time to argue. Neither do I. Let's go.
Hey, that's not nice. I had nothing for that.
Looks like they decided to have an early dinner before making their way back down the hill to the marketplace in town.
You're going for the obvious disguise route.
You didn't book 4 at the Arabian Caves. Or maybe that neat trick you didn't book 3, where you swoop in and knock 3 guys down with one swing. Or maybe.
I also like to mention Daring Do is one of the very few brunettes in the show. It's very odd.
What kind of ambush are you going to use then?
Then again, I'm a sucker for brunettes, even though I'm not sexually attracted to these characters.
Led to believe you have in your possession an item of significant
Money!
That might be for sale.
How could they not see through that disguise? It's not as ridiculous as Clark Kent's glasses, but it's still pretty stupid, but that's the typical work of fiction. Fiction is not nearly as fun if it completely makes sense. I have the power ring! Oh, and I love this part.
Now, Risotto, you know I love you, but I can't give you the ring till I've properly proposed.
I love that part. I mean, it didn't make me laugh as much as that bit in Swarm of the Century with Pinky getting the Wizard and completely ignoring Rarity. It was still pretty funny. You know, I'm gonna say this now. Out of all these creatures, the kitten is the one that makes me shit my pants the most. I mean, screw the panther and the tiger. I'm afraid of it being mauled by the cute, adorable little kitten. You know, I wish Daring Do would have done an uppercut on the tiger. That way I would have been, Tiger, uppercut! Oh, there it is! Tiger, uppercut! Oh, I was late. You know, I have a question to ask here. Why doesn't Rainbow get out of the way? I guess Alizoto has a major long tail. That didn't make sense, major long. He must have a really long tail.
Don't worry, Daring Do.
With a hand on it.
Come help you. Whoa. Don't bother.
Oh my god, Aztec architecture! That is awesome.
What have I done?
Well, to answer that, you fucked up horribly.
Thank goodness you're all right. Quick, where does it hurt?
The feels, man. They hurt a lot.
And the ring have been captured by the dreaded Aoizotl, and it's all...
I also had a problem with this moment, too.
Dash.
And looking back on it,
Did was it
I have no idea why.
Whatever.
Well, actually, I do.
Just go home.
I thought Rainbow disobeyed her element.
Sounds like she needs our help more than ever.
But then now that complaint was immediately bashed as soon as this moral was
Should've stayed out.
established. Which I think is one of the show's finest morals. And one I can relate to a lot.
We can't turn our backs on her. She doesn't want my help, Twilight. Perhaps, but she might need it anyway. No, my hero's way better off without me. This don't sound like
That's what I said the first time I watched this episode.
any pony at the drop of a hat. Or pith helmet, as the case may be. She's here where she's got no business being. She should be at home. It's fine to look up to Daring Do, but you've put her so high up on a pedestal, you can't even see your own worth anymore. She's in the fortress.
That is a moral I absolutely love. I always seem to compare myself to my classmates. And, you know,
Are you with us?
I used to be in advanced classes. I'm stepping it down for this year because, quite frankly, I had a pretty miserable school year. But I always compared myself to my other classmates who were much better at me than a lot of things. And I just felt like I wasn't smart. That's been a problem I've had for like years, and I still have that problem.
Oh, Daring Do, I will so miss your amusing laughter jokes. Now, I must leave to commence
Some people have had a problem with Alizoto's plan. I mean, Celestia does control the sun, but I've always thought that this plan Alizoto has could just destroy the ozone, which in and of itself is, I think, is hazardous. Well, it is. It's the freaking ozone. That thing's destroyed. We're all dead. I have to give Daring Do credit. She is pretty strong. That reminds me of that scene in Wonderbolt's Academy.
I was just about to save myself, you know. Of course. I just thought you might need this.
You can't be without your signature hat. You'll suffer Mario syndrome. You'll take more damage without the hat.
Have I mentioned yet that you're lucky I don't?
Anyway, this next bit coming up is all kinds of awesome. I mean, we start off with Aztec ponies, and then we have this.
Drop the ring, Owie! Whatever your name is.
Place the ring, quickly!
This is like this little get it type of thing. It's a pretty awesome action sequence. In fact, this episode is all kinds of entertaining. But it also has a great story to back it up. It's not like Feeling Pinky King, where the episode was really funny and entertaining, but the story sucked. The moral was terrible.
Help me get all these rings off.
One of these has to be the special stage ring. We can get one of the Chaos Emeralds that way.
If we can remove the giant ring at the bottom, the whole fortress will collapse. Was this your plan all along? I had to find a way to get into the fortress. You did it on purpose? But I thought... Didn't count on how heavy this ring would be, though. As having a little help can be handy sometimes.
You know, that is true. How it can be extremely heavy. Like, I really have nothing much to say about this action sequence, then it's awesome.
You can flop too, you know. Ponies, run!
Get out of here!
Going down!
Oh, there's Wilhelm again. Oh, I forgot to mention, there was a Wilhelm scream earlier. I caught it on my first viewing, but I didn't catch it this time. The first one, anyway.
Daring do, I will have my revenge!
No, the special stage ring. We'll never get the Chaos Emeralds now.
Rainbow Dash. I've got a book to finish. Just had the coolest adventure with the coolest pony ever. Hey, this close to blowing it because I got so wrapped up in
Again, this is a really excellent moral.
Good thing I did.
I regret not giving this episode a good score when I first watched it.
And some pony else.
Package from AK Yearling.
Sweet! The new book a week before any pony else
Sweet.
gets it.
VIP.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh!
Ring of Destiny. That is an awesome title. Anyway, that was Daring Do. An episode that I originally didn't like, but as I watched it more and more, watching different kinds of reviews who supported the episode, like Mr. Enter, I have really evaluated my opinion on this episode, and this episode is all kinds of entertaining. Thank you for sticking for this commentary. This has been Habakari. Have a good one, and signing off.